Welcome. This is my favorite class to teach because it's a subject that I have what amounts to a religious dedication to, and that is the idea of character. Can you hear me all right? It's so strange because I don't hear anything back, and Zooming is a little bit weird. So the idea behind using, do you know what I mean by character, by the way? You with me when I talk? Okay. The idea of using character is that when we sing a song, in particular a ballad, but it goes for uptunes too. It's just that uptunes are easier to get away with because of the rhythm, because of how fast they are. But when it comes to a ballad, we get the ballad, we get the words to the ballad, and we look at the words, and we may, it may mean something to us, it may ring a bell to us, and it may not. Stop me and ask a question anytime you want, by the way. I'm fine with people being unmuted. So should I unmute everybody? Can I do that?
You feeling isolated?
I am. But also, I really mean for this to be interactive. I think that for some people, this is an unusual idea. And because mostly what happens is we get our music, we look at the music. The first thing that I would do is I would write out the words as if they were prose. Because when you do that, you start to get a picture of what the story is that the song is trying to tell you. If you only start by singing it in measures, you don't get the whole gestalt of the song. And the things that you ask yourself when you are going to sing a song that has lyrics to which you really don't have a lot of connection is, who am I in the song? Who am I? You're not you. That is my very firm belief. You are not you. And the reason you are not you is because Kate, Janie, Susan, Linda, Carol, Sandy, we are all going to have a different response to the lyrics. And it's exactly the way it should be. I'm older than all of you put together. There are some people that are very young. We're from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. We've had different experiences. Our life choices have been different. There is no way we would all look at the lyrics to If I Give My Heart to You and all have the same take on them. So that when a director says, I really need some emotion, my question is, and the question you have to answer, where does that come from?
It comes from your own experience, right?
But what the point I'm making is that if it comes from your experience, and then I use my experience, and Linda uses her experience, and Ginny uses her experience, there's going to be no unity. Maybe Ginny's pissed. Maybe I'm sad. Maybe I'm, you name it. Maybe I'm defeated. I am going to have a different way of looking. We are all going to have a different way of looking at the lyrics based upon our experience, our age, our, you name it, everything. It never happens, never in this life, that we all look at the words to a ballad and we all understand what it means, where it came from, why it happened, and how we are supposed to put together this song. So the first thing that yes, go ahead, Ginny. Oh, were you just waving? If you want to say something, raise your hand. So are you with me so far? Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. We hear directors say all the time, we must have unity. We must all do our vocal production in exactly the same way. We must be breathing properly. We must all do things in a unified way. And then we learn the words to the song, and we have very little connection to it. And so there really is no unity to the lyrics. We're singing the lyrics in a different way. If the direction you get is, it's sad, it's a ballad, she's been dumped, or she might get dumped. Well, what is sad? What is sad to you? What is sad to you? What is sad to me? What does that really mean? So the idea behind character is that you look at the words as if they are prose, and you think to yourself, I'm not sure that I connect with this story, but I'm going to try to think of somebody who does. I would like to think of some woman for whom these lyrics are completely motivated and consistent. And if I do that, I'll be able to sing this song as that woman. So we are not singing as ourselves, especially in ballads. How's it going?
Okay.
You all right?
It makes sense.
You
Hang it in.
Does it make sense to you?
Mhm.
Or do you think I'm nuts?
No.
No.
Okay, okay. The thing that character does is it provides context. It is impossible to know how to sing a song unless you know the context. Is she singing, if I give my heart to you, is she singing that because something has just happened? She just noticed that there is two one-way tickets to Peru, and one of the tickets isn't hers. It's his, but she doesn't have a ticket, or hers. Gender, whatever here, gender proper here. Did she get a letter in the mail? Did she have an argument? What happened in the moments before the pitch pipe blew? And if we can agree on that, if we can understand the woman who is singing the ballad, where she comes from, what she wants, what her background is, what her name is. As an actor, I can tell you this is what actors do all the time. It is also what singing actors do. It's what Streisand does. It's what Maureen McGovern does. Singers have been doing it since the late 20s. When understanding who is singing your song and what it says about the character became a thing in the American musical comedy. Started with Showboat in that musical, and it was the first time that character had ever been used. So when the woman sings, he's just my Bill, an ordinary guy. You look at him and you'd never, shoot, can't think of the words. It's just my Bill, an ordinary guy. I just saw cats just walk by. Hi, pussycat.
Oh, that was Sally. Sorry.
Okay. So the point of character is that you're singing as someone else. You know how women do this very easily. We empathize and we have imagination, and we tell other women's stories very easily. I want to tell you about a friend of mine, and I feel so sorry for her. And this is her story. She had a boyfriend, and they were going to get married, and they were very happy. And all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, I mean, we all know these stories. So what I'm saying to you is that when you get one of these songs, you have to know who the woman is. And you have to know what's behind the lyrics. Who am I? Where am I? What do I want? Those are the questions to ask yourself. That's on your handout, no? Yes. So the expression category is looking for authentic emotion. And this is a way to get it without plumbing the depths of your own psyche and going back to a painful experience and dredging it up in order to find emotion. That is not what actors do. I mean, some actors do it. Some actors, that's exactly what they do. They go deeply back. They think of a painful moment, a painful relationship, and they use it in the song or the part that they're playing. And for me, not only do I think that it's manipulative to say to someone, this is a very sad song, I want you to think of something very sad that happened to you, it'll help you sing the song. Not only is that manipulative, it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is, thank goodness, that time, after a while, time calluses over those raw emotions. And after a while, you don't feel as sad as you did the day your goldfish died, 6 months after your goldfish died. That is a good thing. It's a protective mechanism. So to use something that's real and that really gives you pain may work once or twice, but believe me, by the third time you sing the ballad, you won't give a crap. Because you can't hang on to that. That's not something you can realistically hang on to. If you were only going to sing the song once or twice, I would say maybe you have a shot. But you're going to sing the song 800 or 900 times. And chances are you're going to be inured to the lyrics by the time you get there. One of the other good things about using someone else, and I'm going to give you the someone, I'm going to talk to you about the someone else too, and we'll get more specific, is that, well, no, let's go to that. Let's go to that. Let's look at the words to the song. I think we know it. And I'm going to tell you the character. You can tell me if you thought of a character, but I'm going to tell you the character that I thought of who works for this song. If I give my heart to you, will you handle it with care? Will you always treat me tenderly and in every way be fair? If I give my heart to you, will you give me all your love? Will you swear that you'll be true to me by the light that shines above? And will you laugh with me when I laugh and cry with me when I cry? And always be as you are with me tonight? Think it over and be sure. Please don't answer till you do. If you promise all these things to me, then I'll give my heart to you. This is an interesting song. I've never heard a Sweet Adeline song before that says, think it over and be sure. Please don't answer till you do. If you promise all these things to me. But you have to promise. I'm not messing around here. Been there, done that, not doing it again. So who is this woman?
Someone who's been hurt before.
Absolutely. Someone who knows, someone who knows, who's felt this. What else do we know about her?
She has hope.
She what?
Has hope.
She has hope.
I think she's
Right.
assertive too.
She's very assertive.
And she's thinking about being vulnerable, or she's being really vulnerable in that moment, like, you know, putting those defensive.
Wait. I didn't hear all of that. Is that Andrea?
Yes.
She's driving, so her connection is irregular.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, do you know what Andrea's saying?
She's vulnerable?
She is
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Vulnerable and putting those defense mechanisms to the side and willing to be hopeful and take that chance, that risk, that step.
Right.
Again.
But she's really giving him an ultimatum. I mean, this is an ultimatum.
That's where the
It's
assertion
going to be
comes
this
in.
way or it's not going to work. Patty?
Right. That's where the assertion comes in.
That's right. And the character I'm thinking of, that didn't come easy to her. She's rather acquiescent. This is not her usual thing. which makes it even all the more poignant that she does it, because she's actually rather naive and sweet. And though she's been hurt before, she is not someone who's terrifically assertive. But this is a very assertive thing to be doing. What else do we know about her without really knowing exactly who she is?
Somebody put up a note that she was cautious.
Cautious.
She
Yeah.
sure is cautious.
Yeah.
How do you
I
know
think
she's cautious?
I also think she's willing to give him up if he
That's right.
can't be honest with her. She's
That's
willing
right.
to walk away from it.
Yeah.
Sad, but true.
I think she's also trying to be fair for, you know, for herself, that
For
she's,
herself. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm going to tell you, I actually have a video of this at some point. I sure would love to show it to you, and you'll see why I think this is a good idea, why I rely on this so much. I'm a movie freak. I watched movies from the time I was 5 until I was about 17, and then finally had to go to college, which was really kind of a shame because I would rather have stayed in the basement watching movies. So I'm a little bit of a movie nut. And so I love using movies for these characters. If the artistic team with the director, the music team, however your chorus does it, can't come up with someone, movies are great. And I thought of a movie immediately when I looked again at this song. And the movie I thought of was Jerry Maguire.
Mm.
And the reason I thought about Jerry Maguire, have you all seen it with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I thought of it was think it over and be sure. That really got me. I really love that. It's not the usual thing that happens in a Sweet Adelines song. Most songs follow this melody, and then there's conflict in the middle, and then it goes back to the melody. In fact, it's how classical music works too. And in the conflict in the middle is where we want to flesh out that conflict. There is no drama and there's no comedy without conflict. So the fact that there's conflict in this song, as there are in most of our ballads, is great. It means we have to solve something. And that is another step in the direction of understanding who you are when you sing the song. So I thought about Dorothy, the character in Jerry Maguire, and I thought of her because of that phrase. Toward the end of the movie, they are sitting in their backyard, and she says to him, I don't think we can, they've gotten married, but Jerry doesn't seem really to have been 100% behind it, if you remember. And Dorothy says to him, I think that we should take a break. And Jerry says, why? And she says, because I just don't think that you're in this in the same way that I am. And I have a son, her little boy, Ray. And I can't sacrifice him to another bad relationship. And I just don't think you're here with me. And he says something like, well, what do you want? My heart and my soul? And she says, yes, that's exactly what I want. I deserve it. So let's let it lie for a while and we'll see what happens. But I can't go on like this. So she's giving him an ultimatum. So the song is filled with love, and it's also filled with ultimatum, with power, with vulnerability, and with somebody who knows what she wants. These are strong things to play. And by playing, I mean performing. You can't play sad. I'm not saying sad doesn't exist, but in terms of performance, you can't play sad. The music will go down the crapper. It will lose energy. Sad is an internal thing. It is not something that you can play. So another thing that I love to talk about is using active verbs when you're describing what you're singing. And I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean. Here are intellectual verbs that are non-playable. To blame, to atone, to be sad, to be melancholy, to be hurt, to hope, to want, to think. Here are active verbs. These are all in the thesaurus. To hurt, inspire, suppress, argue, incite, fight, enlighten, explain, teach, reveal, seduce, ensnare, mock, cheer, taunt, gossip. So those are all things, if I said that last group of things for you, you know exactly what to do. Are you okay with that? I mean, you can argue with me any old time, you know. But the point is that these passive things are not really playable. And also what's sad for some people, sad for some people is getting under the covers and not coming out for 2 weeks. And sad for some other people is listening to sad music and crying and getting over it. It's different for everybody. So this lack of specificity, this lack of something you can really hang on to when you're singing the song. What do I want? Who am I? Okay, I'm Dorothy. I'm in love with Jerry. I'm dying to stay married to him. I'm crazy about him, but I don't know that he has it in him. He's a sports
Agent or manager or something. Yeah.
agent. And he is every single bit of a sports agent. He's everything you can picture in a sports agent. He's fast talking, he's charming, he's full of crap, he's manipulative, he's adorable, and as it happens, he becomes very, very close friends with one of the guys he's an agent for, Cuba Gooding, who won an Academy Award for this role, who points out to him what a jerk he is with women. Yeah, and he finally, of course, comes around. But my point is that when you have a very specific woman, it's like what women do all the time. Tell one another stories about each other and the adventures or the sad or the happy or the conflicted things that they've gone through. So, and you think about your friend and you know her and you know how she feels and how deeply she feels and you really feel for her. And that is what we want in our lyrics. And it isn't always easy because a lot of contestable Sweet Adeline songs do not have interesting lyrics. This at least has really interesting lyrics. But there are some. Oh, how I miss you tonight. Miss you when lights are low. Oh, how I need you tonight. More than you'll ever know. Huh? What does that mean? Each moment though we're apart, you're never out of my heart. These are the most generic lyrics in the world. But I'd rather be lonely than be with you only. Oh, pal, how I miss you tonight. The nights are so long. We don't know one more thing about her from this song. We don't know one thing about her, except that she's alone and she doesn't want to be. And you can't build a performance on being alone and don't want to be. What do you think of that?
Very good. Very true. Very
All
true.
right,
what you
talk
said.
more about it.
Sometimes it's very difficult to relate to a song, even in a character, like because of the lyrics being totally meaningless in a way.
Meaningless to you.
Right. Yeah.
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 Which is why, if you're not you, there are characters who would say things that I mean, I would never say, I don't think I would say, if I give my heart to you, will you swear that you betray me? Will you promise all these things to me? That's not my style. I wouldn't do it. But Dorothy would. This is completely, this could have been written, this song could have been in that movie, in that scene. It is a perfect, it is a perfect definition and look at where she is and how she's feeling. So it isn't, the trouble is that we look at these words and we're supposed to get all the emotion and all of the feeling and this expansive big thing where everybody is moved by it. It's like swimming with lead weights on. I don't think it can be done. And just to say, give you a teensy weensy bit of history in this and why it came about, this business of character. It didn't always used to be. Before Showboat in 1929, musicals, which were mostly British, there was no American musical comedy yet. Showboat was the beginning of the American musical comedy. So before that, most musicals were about love and loss and trying to find someone to love. Sometimes they were about the army, or the Navy. They were about mistaken identity, and they always had to do with the socially elite. They had a lot to do with rich people. And World War I and World War II came along, and Americans didn't want to hear that stuff anymore. And along came Showboat, which really was revolutionary. The opening number had black slaves on stage singing a song called Cotton Blossom, which is the name of the boat. It is literally a showboat. So it's a play about slavery. It's a play about passing for white. It's a play about misogyny. It's a play about slavery. It's a play about love. It's a play about the theater. In other words, it's the first American musical comedy. And if you look at all the ones that followed, they are filled with conflict and darkness. And I am a proponent of singing love songs with all of the darkness and the truth that we can dredge up, without being manipulative, without dredging up our own crap, through character. Using somebody else's experience and pretending you're that person for the life of the song. It gives you the context. It gives you, you understand the words, you understand what she's after. And it has very little to do with you. You're the conduit. And you add your own, obviously, if there are moments when you feel something that is familiar to you, you add that to it. I'm not saying you turn yourself off. On the contrary, it should light you up without you having to use your own experience and be upset. I had a woman who came up to me once when I was coaching with Karen and Gina, and she said, God, we've been singing Pal of My Cradle Days, and I hated my mother, and my mother hated me. I was so shocked. And, but yeah, hey, it happens. And, and that is a danger sometimes of singing these very emotional songs. I'm, again, mainly talking about ballads that touch you in a personal way. And the way around it is just not to make it personal.
Well, it's also true, like going to the extreme in the other way, though. Like if you had a really great relationship with your mother and she's gone, and like it could like tear you apart singing that song.
Yes, it absolutely could.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's a lot leeway and a lot of power and a lot of fun in pretending to be somebody else. It's really fun. And if you get to know this woman very well, if you watch Jerry Maguire and you get to like Dorothy, and I think she's very likable, then you really get to understand her story. And when you sing the song, you're picturing being in the backyard with Jerry and all that you've been through, and you're able to use that without tapping into your own troubles, feelings, negativity, whatever. It's a powerful way to perform. Here's the other thing that's very cool about it. We were doing a wedding package, and it was based on Linda. What's the movie?
In and Out.
In and Out. The movie
In
with
and Out.
Kevin Kline, and it's a very funny movie. Kevin Kline and Dorothy, no,
Yeah, wasn't it In and Out?
In and Out.
Wasn't that it?
I'm saying the guy was Kevin Kline and the woman is John, what's his name?
Cusack.
Cusack.
Joan
Cusack.
Cusack.
Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack. It is a very funny, but very deep and true movie about being gay, about wanting to be married, about feeling fat, about not being everybody's idea of the most beautiful woman. It is, I love the movie because it is really about her. Although the story is about Kevin Kline, it is really about, I'm trying to think of her name in the movie, it doesn't make any difference. She loses a lot of weight for him. They teach together somewhere in the Midwest. She loses a lot of weight for him. She does all the things he loves to do. He loves Barbra Streisand. She listens to Barbra Streisand, or she doesn't really like Barbra Streisand that much, but she listens to it all the time. She makes the food that he loves. They're going to get married. And she has on a gorgeous gown. She's lost all this weight, and he's adorable, and they're walking down the aisle, and they get to the minister, who says to him, do you take to be your lawfully wedded wife? And he says, I'm gay. And she, of course, is completely shocked. He has finally come clean. And he's right to do it, but at the moment it's just awful. And what happens after
Emily.
that? Emily. God,
Her
did you
name's
remember
Emily.
that? Did you cheat and Google it?
Google. I did. I cheated.
Emily. Yes.
Howard and Emily.
Howard and Emily. And they are both lovable, fine, smart, sensitive, funny, delightful people. But he discovers this thing about himself. And he knows he can't marry her. And she's completely crushed. The point of my telling you this, first of all, it's a wonderful story that has darkness and humor and all kinds of juicy, juicy stuff to feed into the song that you're going to sing, which is why I love it. And I love her character. I love Emily. She's wonderful. But what's interesting about it, getting back to singing something 8,000 times, and another reason why character is powerful stuff, is, you sing something 8,000 times and pretty soon people are sort of, a little bit over it. So one night, a couple of days before rehearsal, I sent out wedding invitations. And I invited Emily's family and Howard's family formally to the wedding. It was email, but I sent out a beautiful invitation. And I said, that it was not a formal wedding, but that it was, it was an afternoon wedding, but that it was, nice. It was dress up. And that there would be food, and people were going to bring food, and you could bring gifts if you so desired, but there were also things that there were other things you could do. You didn't have to bring presents. And damn it, if everybody in the chorus didn't show up, as one side or the other of the family. Remember, Linda?
Yes.
And I think Peach, who was the tallest woman there, played the minister, and Gina played the bride, And we did the beginning of I don't know who played Howard, but anyway, we had a guy. Somebody's husband. We wrote, somebody's husband walked in.
Yes.
And all he had to say was, I'm gay, when we told him to say it. Yeah. And we did the whole thing, pitch blue, and we started to sing. So that's something else you can do in rehearsals, is do improvs, do an improvisation and get the scene going. It opens up a lot of other stuff so that the package you're singing, or we like to put both songs together, but even if you don't do that, so that the ballad in particular that you're singing has real depth and real, a variety of feeling. We don't ever feel just one way when we're falling in love or when we're breaking up. There are a million different feelings connected with both of those things. And a lot of our songs tend to focus on one particular aspect, which doesn't make us terribly human or terribly interesting. And it doesn't give us the fullness of the emotion that we want.
Jane, we're coming into the home stretch.
Jane, we have about
Lay it
6
on me.
minutes
Ask
left.
me questions. Ask me questions or say whatever you want to say. Go. Come on. You know you want to.
How specific do you get when you're building this character?
Very. We get as specific as we can. Because every decision, it feels like, has an effect on perhaps a particular part of the song even. You know, we talked about that she's vulnerable. Well, where in the song do we see her vulnerability? And we talk about that she doesn't take any crap anymore. Well, where do we see that in the song? And where do we see her loving, how loving she is? Where do we see that? Where do we see all her the different parts of her? So yeah, that's the point of this, the more specific, the less specific you are, the more floundering you are trying to find how you sing this phrase.
May I say that a year ago, when I was very fortunate as one of the Knots members singing with Hots on the international stage, right before we went on stage, Karen went through the scenario, so we were all in the same character's head, so that when we went on and we sang the package, we were all in the same place.
Yes.
And it was
put
wonderful.
Ourselves in a bar, I think. And it turned out we were sort of in that kind of space before we walked on the stage.
Yeah.
And Karen talked through exactly what was going on in our character's mind. And then we walked on stage and we did it.
We did it.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
But like Jane had said, she likes going, with movies and the character in the movie. And we are all asked to watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
yes.
we
We
can
all
get
watched
that
the
in our
movie.
head.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
we all have to watch.
We all watched the movie. And you can actually have a movie night and all do it together or just do it separately. Yeah. Yeah, we all watched the movie. It's really a lot of fun. And there are times, once in a while, where it's very hard to find a movie, and some movies are better than other movies. Some work better than others in the same way that some packages work better than other packages do for God only knows what, myriad of reasons. But this is a way to make the work more specific and to have something to hang your hat on so that you're not out there trying so hard to be emotional and not really knowing how to do that. How do you do that? I don't know. I've been acting my whole life. I don't know how to do that if I don't have context. Who am I? What do I want? Anybody else? Feel free. You're very polite.
A quiet group tonight.
What can I say?
They have a lot to think about. There's
It is a lot of
heavy stuff, but that's why we teach this class, is to get people the building blocks for why we do this and how you approach it, so that way you can become a better, more consistent performer.
Right. Right. Well, I sometimes think to myself also that we are a women's organization and we are interesting and we are from all over and we have all different backgrounds and all different hopes and dreams and all different experiences. And that I don't feel like that gets expressed the way it ought. We're always, it's always just about the perfection of the music. And while I love that about barbershop, it has to also be about the lyrics. And what do they mean? And how do I fit in? And what is this woman saying? And what does she want? Otherwise, I don't, it's almost impossible to have any consistent, playable emotion.
Right. Yeah.
Are we done?
We are just about at time, so I'm going to pop in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and pop in the survey for everyone to fill out,
Okay.
if you really wouldn't mind.
Okay.
That's how we're getting all of the feedback from the weekend. So we really appreciate you taking 2 minutes to fill out this 6 questions. If you filled out a survey for another class, you'll see that it's very similar, because we wanted to check every class, because this weekend's really meant to be like a real drop-in style. So
I'll give you $5 if you give me a good, if you give me a good thing. I'll give you $5.
Jane, I'm not going to tell you who those people are. I'm just going to say that it's a lot, so you give me a lot of the $5. That's how I'm going to do it.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
I enjoyed it a lot. Thank
Yes,
you.
thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all for coming.
Take care. Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
for
This has
coming.
been
I'm so glad you were here.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.